and we are live.
Yay! Don't mind me. I'm just trying to read this thing out.
Doing some social. Oh, sorry if you heard that. Every time I touch the barrel of the mic, I get some feedback in my headphones. I hope you don't hear that on the stream. All right, we are here and doing stuff.
Like that.
Wow. So, I'm working on some Christmas stuff.
Ooh.
So, I'm going to do, so there's going to kind of be a Christmas card for for the channel. And then, of course, a big Christmas present towards the, closer to the holiday.
Christmas present.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Something that, something that's been due for a while. It's kind of overdue Christmas present. So that's going good, though. It's fun.
Nice.
Fun stuff.
Come on. Why is this so difficult?
It'll only get worse in the next update.
Yeah, really. There, fine. This is why other people have social media people.
Do this. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And they're always like, 17, 18.
Oh my God, you have to be, right? To keep up with all
that's a little old, yeah.
Keep up with all the shit that's going on.
Yeah.
I got other stuff to do. I got kids to take care of. I got sleep to do, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm not violating child labor laws. These are the only people that can do this work.
Cool. All right. Fine.
All right. So how's it going? Good?
Yeah,
Good?
okay.
All right.
It's the week. Going to be the weekend soon, Friday.
Yes.
Hey, did you feel that earthquake we just had?
Yeah. It was a kind of a low, rumbly one.
Yeah,
because it was pretty close to my house, so
right.
I could feel it pretty.
No, I was switching between lessons, my 3-minute break between lessons, and all the monitors are going whoop, 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 whoop. And I was like, it's a construction, and then it just kept going. And I'm like, oh no, it was an earthquake. All right.
Yeah, I'm surprised it was a longer one than usual.
Yeah.
But only like 5.3 or something, 5.4. But pretty close. Usually they're.
Like nothing happened. Everybody, as far as I know, everybody's fine. But how you know it was an earthquake is like this has been going on for like longer than a truck rumble.
Right. Yeah. I used to get in Los Angeles. We used to get the ones that were just bang.
Oh, really? I don't think I ever experienced
those. Just like something just went
dropped.
Yeah. Right. Whoa. Okay. Yeah. It wasn't rumble at all. It was just like, did something hit the house? Did a plane crash? Like, what was that sudden impact?
It is going to fall into the sea, just like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here it's kind of a bit more like.
Yeah. Yes. So hope everyone is doing well. Hey Joe, how's it going in the chat? Yeah. It's been a while. So we've got our blue wrench in the
nice.
in our YouTube chat. Thanks, Joe. All right, and I'm trying to see the chat and notes, but it's just not going to work right now. But I'll get that app working hopefully. All right. Yeah, and so just to let you know before we start, so go ahead and ask anything or respond to what we're saying in the chat, and then at the end I'll go back and kind of address everything and kind of catch up.
So don't leave.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because Chris only has a limited time, so it'd be difficult to.
I am the limiting factor here. Sorry.
It would be difficult, to disrupt because we would talk about nothing then. Just
we would. It'd be fun. I'd enjoy it. I don't want to go back to being a cog in some corporate little thing, but I only got like an hour for lunch.
Right.
And you will notice I am not eating.
You're right. You're just every stream you're getting thinner and thinner and thinner. It's like
because then I go and shovel convenience store garbage in my face at my desk after I get back.
Nice. All right. Let's do this.
Cool.
Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, Mutant Crawl Classics goes to retail. Oh. So their retail release. I guess they were just on the website or the Kickstarter before. Yeah. Maybe limited, limited retail. D&D themed restaurant.
Okay. Why not?
World of Darkness digital toolset.
Okay.
Street Fighter tabletop RPG. And the Indie Cornucopia 9 from Humble Bundle. Or not, I'm sorry, for a bundle of holding.
Yeah, Humble Bundle is the books.
Yes.
Bundle of holding is the games.
Yes.
That are also sometimes books.
Yeah, sometimes. All right. Well, let's start with the release. So this is from a Kickstarter, a 2017 Kickstarter. I think it was filled around that time. But the Mutant Crawl Classics is kind of the the sci-fi version of Dungeon Crawl Classics by Goodman Games. And starting this month, December, they will now have the a softcover book and a limited hardcover book, which they're calling the Mutant Astronaut Edition. available through probably Amazon and everywhere else. So maybe they were just limiting, they were just limiting sales and everything until they produced enough or had enough done for retail. But this month officially everything goes out. You can get access to that. So the softcover is $24.99 suggested retail, and Doug Kovacs did the cover, and the Mutant Astronaut edition is $60. So it might be pretty. They've done some nice limited stuff before, and like foil and all kinds of nice covers.
It's a hardback book, and
and
I've not read Mutant Crawl Classics. I know it's based on Dungeon Crawl Classics, which I think I had a digital copy of. It's like a 200-ish.
Oh yeah, it's a good
book,
size,
right? It's a good size book.
Yeah,
so.
and it's nice. It's a lot of nice, thematic kind of retro illustrations, and really well designed. Like the tables and everything are really well designed and easy to read, and it's completely compatible with Dungeon Crawl Classics. So you can actually like just turn things into sci-fi. You use caves and different things, and just make them, tweak them a little bit to make them more post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, I was going to say my was kind of like, I think I'm not sure what's in Mutant Crawl Classics. I imagine it's kind of a bit like Gamma World.
Right.
But I mean, you think about like early D&D modules. I mean,
yeah,
or even early. You want to be technical, early science fiction, right? There was no distinction between science fiction and fantasy. I mean, it's like, come on, Thundar the Barbarian, all that stuff. Hell, even Conan kind of technically had an alien.
Right.
The Elephant's Tower, right? It's kind of an alien kind of thing. So I would imagine Mutant Crawl Classics would be backwards compatible with Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Right. Yeah, because they're using the same basic rule set, just like the same with Gamma World. Yeah, same basic rule set. So I'm sure people did that same sort of thing.
The original Gamma World, first edition, was very different from
Oh
D&D.
yeah, that's right.
Well, I mean, there were similarities, but you couldn't mix them. Right.
That's
you think like the more recent edition of Gamma World that was based on 4th edition that had a whole bunch of cards you put together.
That's right. Yeah, that was a real turnoff when they did the kind of blind packs of cards. It's like, I don't want to collect cards to play.
But of course you do. You're a nerd. That means you want to collect stuff.
Open those packs. Yeah, that's the only way I'm satisfied. Yeah, so take a look if you're interested in that game and been kind of reluctant because maybe shipping is not great or whatever from the websites it was available on. Now you can get it anywhere books are sold.
Yep, line Jeff Bezos' pocket.
Yeah, right. Yeah, get that nice 40% cut to Amazon. Nice. And we also have news. So this isn't. We've got a little while yet. So I'm sure there'll be. I'm sure there'll be other news. Developing as we're discussing this. But in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, as if these poor people have not been through enough, Griffin and Gargoyle. The Griffin and Gargoyle project announced that they will be building a D&D inspired. So maybe they're going to try to go around the any sort of Wizards of the Coast licensing or whatever.
This isn't Big B's crushing hand. This is Bug B's crushing hand, right?
Yes. So they're opening in spring of 2024 a restaurant that will feature an experience for fans of fantasy properties. And so they're listing not only D&D, but Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right, because all fantasy is the same, right?
Yeah, exactly the same. Yeah. So the the restaurant will feature the Griffin and Gargoyle Tavern, the Curated Curiosities, and the Gnome Alchemist. So the other interesting thing that they said is there will be cast members similar to Disneyland where people will be assuming roles. So your tavern keepers and alchemists and everything will be in costume and in character the whole time. So you can have interesting conversations with the employees. And I'm sure that will be nice and fun to the training for that job I'm sure will be amazing.
Okay, I've never been because they were kind of far away from where I lived in the States, but I've always wanted to go to medieval times.
Oh, right.
Kind of the jousting kind of themed dinner thing. Like, that sounds fun. That sounds cool. This kind of sounds similar. I'm rolling my eyes because if they say D&D themed, I immediately am turned off.
Yeah.
I don't... Who knows, right? Maybe they'll do something great. I'm kind of skeptical where we're like, D&D, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Warhammer Fantasy. Let's just all mash it together because, like, some of those things don't fit.
Yeah,
it sounds a bit scattershot. I mean, what are you going to do? Sit in the back corner with some Strider-esque character with your red and yellow striped Harry Potter scarf, drinking some, butterbeer ale, whatever. Like that doesn't match, right?
Right.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think they're just kind of spreading the net as wide as possible,
Yeah.
and hopefully, maybe they're hoping that things pick up and that the museum actually starts functioning and
Is this
becomes
attached to the?
It's not connected at all,
Okay.
but it'll be
Right.
like it will become the Orlando, Florida
I
of
see what you're saying,
gaming.
right. So you're hoping all the D&D nerds are going to go to the mecca of
Yeah,
D&D.
when they get hungry, where are they going to eat?
Yeah,
after
well, the
looking-
Griffin and Gargoyle, of course. Yeah.
Right. So a little rundown. The curated curiosities, of course, will be their retail space, specializing in handicraft, artifacts, accessories, and clothing. Yikes. The Gnome Alchemist is an artificer-themed bar, which serves, a bunch of dry ice infused cocktails, bubbling and smoke effects.
Because
like
when
we've
I think
seen.
artificer, I mean, you couldn't be a potion person, right? When I think artificer, I think clockwork, not
right.
booze.
Yeah,
right.
right. So they're trying to imitate the experience, the Star Trek experience in Las Vegas. Yeah, the bar that was there, and conveniently located near this drinking establishment will be Huck's Axe Throwing. So I don't know how alcohol and axe throwing are
Axe
a
throwing
good
first,
combination.
please.
Yeah, right.
Then go drink it up.
Yeah, so they're trying to give us a kind of vivid picture of how nice this is going to go. But I don't know, and I don't know any of their previous projects or
Right, yeah,
anything. I don't know like who, because they didn't say in this little press release.
What else I've done?
Who else was involved and like where the funding. So hopefully nobody that's involved in the previous debacles of TSR and museums and things is involved. This is just somebody that's saying, well, this is the home of, and let's do something thematic if people do want to travel here for any reason.
I was going to ask, did they stick their foot firmly in their mouth in regards to inclusivity in this press release anywhere? Because that would be a sure sign that new TSR is involved.
Right. Yeah, no, they didn't at all. It's pretty limited to just the kind of tantalizing details of the attractions of the restaurant.
I would kind of hope that the NPC cast members only have like a set script.
Right.
That's a bit video game-esque, but I think it would be hilarious if there's only like
and they
set
just
phrases
repeat the same line.
them.
That would be great.
Or
Yeah.
every time someone new walks in, you like, "Hello, welcome to," or like, "Pull up a chair," right, kind of thing. And like mid-conversation, they got to turn.
Yeah, so we'll see if this actually happens, and if anybody complains or gets involved and says, hey, you're stepping on our licensed toes. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. So poor Lake Geneva, they continue to endure
The legacy of Gygax. Yeah.
Yes. So similar to what we talked about with Pathfinder 2nd Edition, World of Darkness now is partnering with Demiplane to create their own digital tool set. So in the same way, it's going to be named World of Darkness Nexus and have the probably it's going to be a similar backend or similar platform. And so in time for kind of 5th edition just came out, Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. So good timing, and if it's the same, because I think they previously talked about Demiplane has one of the developers for D&D Beyond. So they know what they're doing. I took a look at just the front page. I didn't sign up for any pre-order or anything, so I didn't get any details or see what anything really looked like. But it's decently put together. The website, it doesn't look like a ripoff or but we don't know. That's the frustrating thing with digital tool sets is I have this book, I spent $40, I have to spend $40 again for the digital version. But but if they're developing tools specifically for a game and they're involving the actual designers, it could be good. I mean, that's what it should be. It shouldn't be all this like kind of random third party, because everybody has a different idea of the quality of assets they would use. So like Roll20 has that problem a lot, or some of the other, it's a real like, oh, these are amazing. Oh, this package is not great, and
because they were made by different people.
Yeah. There's a lot of people.
That does have a benefit, right? I mean, there is, like we were talking earlier before the cast, I think there's a benefit to opening that up to the public, or at least different people, right? Like a whole selection of assets at different price points, and it's going to be different quality, and some are going to be better than others. I think that's maybe a little better, at least idea-wise, than saying, no, only certain people.
That's true. Yeah. Because that'll drive the price up really high. But you want to have some sort of quality assurance of some of that stuff. Because a few of the things that I've seen for Astral, the virtual tabletop, not just real half-assed. I mean, it's got the content, from the books in it or from the adventures in it, but the actual like art assets and things, it's just like the lowest possible effort kind of stuff. So that can be a little disappointing or a little rough, but
especially if you're paying like $40 for it again. Especially if you feel like I got to buy the book again and it's
right.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully they have a good, and each game is going to have a different kind of tolerance. Like I think people will have more tolerance for cartoony or cutesy, assets when they're not playing World of Darkness. I don't think there's going to be too many
we'll see. Yeah.
chibi little ponds and things for this. But yeah, so it's a similar thing that'll be coming out next year. They're anticipating it. And so a couple of quotes. There's really nothing like World of Darkness. The rich lore and unique feel of the setting leads to such compelling characters that you want to find out what happens next. So Adam Bradford, the chief developer of Demiplane, said, World of Darkness will allow players to engage with those characters in new ways and make preparing and telling great stories together more convenient than ever. And as we've seen, because of lockdown, the kind of limitations of travel, virtual tabletops and online tools have been really useful. And some people, I think, are starting to really lean into them and prefer them because, it's the kind of experience they want to have, especially if they came from like PC RPGs. Sure. It's like, oh, this is just a conversation over a digital board. And then the Sean Greeny of the brand manager for World of Darkness said, our partnership with Demiplane signals a new era for World of Darkness and storytellers with less bookkeeping so that they can get more fun. They can get to the fun parts of role-playing faster. World of Darkness Nexus assembles all of the official content in a convenient, accessible way, whether they are new to World of Darkness or have been playing for decades. So yeah, we'll see how they handle this. So the same way they're doing they're going to do an early access next year, so you can get to kind of see things, and hopefully there'll be a cheap way to just kind of try it out and see if it's going to work and how reliable it is. Because not only is it the quality of the assets, the price you're going to pay, but connectivity issues and stuff like their web coding has to allow people to connect easily, and especially when you're pling kind of all over the world.
Time zones,
right. It can get a little dicey. I've had some refresh.
That pun was intended.
A little dicey. Yes. So so we'll see. And this is going to be two pretty major game systems that are going to be using the same. Yeah.
Not the biggest, but certainly big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so who knows? Hopefully this is a good choice for both of them, and it's not going to slow them down. Because if this is a misstep, especially for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, it's going to put them further and further behind. So? If this is a bad platform, like if people don't adopt it, it's like no thanks, I'll stick with Roll20, and then they're putting all of their kind of efforts into developing for this, and if it's not compatible with Roll20, if they can't release stuff simultaneously, it might be a little. It might slow them down a little bit as far as the virtual tabletop space. But speaking of the Storyteller System, I saw this review a while ago, and I kept wanting to talk about it. And since we were talking about World of Darkness, I figured, hey, why not? So once upon a time, there was a licensed Street Fighter TTRPG.
Yeah.
And it was based on the Vampire the Masquerade system, the World of Darkness Storyteller
I have
system.
no idea. I know this exists. I have not looked at it. I have no idea how you would do that.
I know. Yeah, the explanation in the review was pretty fun. So it is a modified version of the Storyteller System. And so at the time, White Wolf had big success with Vampire, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage the Ascension.
So Street the Fighter?
Street the Fighter, yeah. They put a colon in there. And so all based on the Storyteller System. And so and the thing that I think that was compelling about the system at the time is skills it was lower numbers that you're dealing with. Right. You're rolling D10s for successes, similar to like the Year Zero engine that we're doing with D6s now. And so less math and just you're counting successes. So that was appealing to people. But adapting it for Street Fighter, so they kept the physical, mental, and social attributes, and then had to kind of go beyond, because the characters are not just humans, they're kind of beyond. So you're basically starting with stats that would be like an elder vampire or something, because usually 5 was the max for humans, so you're going to go up above that for certain abilities and feats. They added special moves, so each character, and they statted out the characters from the role-playing game. So basically it was the Street Fighter 2 lore. They didn't go beyond that roster. So there's combo, attack, maneuvers, and they used kind of a new system of combat cards. So you're basically playing cards for attacks, which makes it kind of more tactical because I guess you have to commit to something and somebody else. So maybe a little rock, paper, scissors.
Right.
I've seen that done with board games that are simulating kind of a 2D fighter, 2D fighting game.
Yeah, so it's in addition to playing the rules, you're also kind of playing your opponent, where like get kind of trying to anticipate what they would do, or
Right, yeah. So they always go defensive. So yeah, I'll do this, and it used a hex grid, which gives you a little bit of, it's not the 2D. There's a lot more sides to a hex, and so yeah, that was a kind of an interesting choice. So the cards were for various classes. They sold packs of cards for various classes. So depending on what character you wanted to play.
I wonder how you divide those characters into classes.
Yeah, I know.
Well, unless you kind of go like offensive, defensive, speed, or something, right?
Yeah, so it's interesting. And I wonder how much, like beyond the license, if Capcom just said, here you can use the characters, or if they, actually gave them some design documents or things and let them like, okay, we'll break it up this way, or this is what was intended, or if they just knew the game, if they were like fans of the game. But often that's not the case. It's often they're just like dealing with a license that somebody said, this is really popular, let's do this.
Yeah, use this. Yeah.
And so we've seen it in recent times, Dragon Age, The Witcher, Fallout, Dishonored. These are all, video games, basically, some PC games, some console games that are now tabletop RPGs, because I guess the world is rich enough that people are like, I want to play in this world, so let's, find a system or whatever to do that.
That's why I'm having, I played Street Fighter 2 as a kid, because every Saturday going to art class, we'd eat pizza at this place, and there was the arcade, right? There was the arcade. There was the one game in this pizza place, and they're like, and not that I got good at it, but I enjoyed it, right? It's a fighting game. There's lore, there's background,
but
right? Like it's kind of there despite rather than because of, right? So I'm not a video gamer, but like I know basically what kind of the story is going on in like The Witcher or Fallout. Like there's a world, things are happening.
Right.
I understand how there's room to explore this world, right? I don't see that for Street Fighter. Like how many boards were there in Street Fighter 2? Like, where are we now? Like I'm trying to remember, like the cage where Vega fought, right?
Right.
Or now we're at
or
like
the public bath, the onsen, where
Honda,
Honda.
Okay, now are those the only places you can go? I'm sure there's much more to this game. I cannot picture what it would be, right? And why do you give them a social stat? Why do you just punch people, right? I don't know.
Yeah, so I wonder, because you're right. The backstory is like, you played kind of a narrative. If you played through, if you beat everybody, you got little pieces of the story. It's like, oh, you killed my father, prepare to die.
Yeah. Like that's all you got. Yeah.
So
who are you matched up against? What dialogue does that spawn? Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But the storyteller, the game master, can have fun just like naming like Japan, like
is that what the storyteller does?
That's all he does. It's like, okay, now we're in China.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. What does that mean? Yeah, or maybe you can, all the NPCs are the people with the like one, one little cycle of animation in the background. You can talk to them. There's a rich world going on behind the fights. Yeah. So it's an oddity, and of course it's completely out of print now. They don't have that license anymore, and I don't think anyone sees that as a perfect fit for tabletop.
Who knows? I might I'll never get a copy of it, right? But if I did get a copy, I might open it and go, oh, there's some amazing stuff in there, right? Who knows?
Yeah, it's funny. That's a really funny choice, and that's, I think we'll always have those trends, and we may see more of that now because we're seeing a lot of it where they're kind of digging, both board games and RPGs are kind of digging through, well, what IPs, what properties are popular now, because then we can sell games, we can sell our system.
I wonder if I'm sure that's what it was, where it's like, this thing's popular, we can afford to license it.
Yeah, right.
Let's do it. So.
Yeah, and especially when they don't really know that market. I'm sure Capcom was like, what? Okay, sure.
It's money.
Yeah, right. Write the check out too.
As long as you don't do anything that makes the game look bad, we'll take your money.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm curious, and I think that happened a lot though, because going through like the auction sites and stuff in Japan, there's some really funny RPGs based on anime and stuff that you're just like, how, what, yeah.
Why?
So a lot of
Well, the answer to why is Japan.
yeah, right. So maybe the popularity of D&D or Call of Cthulhu in like the 90s or whatever inspired a lot of studios to try to license.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
Yeah, license familiar.
I haven't watched all of it, and I'm dating myself here. When I did watch anime, because I can't stand it now, it was Record of Lodoss War, which was inspired by someone's
someone's
D&D campaign.
You're right. Yeah, there were a couple of manga that were definitely done by D&D players where they put the D&D monsters in there, not telling TSR anything about that.
Well,
and
I think as long as you kind of didn't name it, whatever.
And if they couldn't read the katakana,
that too, right?
Well,
actually, that's pretty funny. I mean, like, we're getting into language here. My Japanese is terrible, but based on how sometimes wildly different the katakana sound of something is from the English sound.
It's a different,
it's a different monster.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a beholderu.
Yeah, right.
Not a beholder. Distinctly different, right?
Yeah, and I don't think it would come up. I mean, the person that would go after you is the licensor of Dungeons and Dragons in Japan. Like, I don't think TSR or Wizards of the Coast at the time would have paid much attention at all. Yeah, and maybe that's why Japan got a little bit of that reputation too, of just kind of like ripping stuff off and including their favorite things in their stories. But because like Ken from Fist of the North Star is basically Mel Gibson.
Oh, really?
I mean, it looks exactly like.
Does Ken of the North Star go on an anti-Semitic rant too?
He does, yeah. That's why. Yeah, that's why he's got all that. Never mind. But if you're not interested at all in games based on popular IPs, then we've got a bundle of holding for you.
Nice transition.
So the Indie Cornucopia number 9, so I've done this 9 times, has a really nice selection of indie RPGs that if you don't have any of these, this is a good opportunity to kind of pick them up for a cheaper price. So Ironsworn Delve and Ultraviolet Grasslands are the two big featured. So to get the kind of their basic level, $12.95 will get you Delve, which is the kind of dungeon exploring version. So this is the not free version. So so Ironsworn, the basic rules are free digitally, and this is the not free version done by Sean Tompkins that will. Exploration in a Powered by the Apocalypse fantasy game. Impulse Drive by Adrian Thone. Yeah, Adrian. It's also Powered by the Apocalypse, and it's a science fiction by way of like Mass Effect or Star Wars. Opera House is this under the basic level. Takes place in the Royal Grand Opera House, the largest, most prestigious theater in the whole city of Pavilion. So it's a kind of intrigue and sabotage and supernatural, threats. But so
the opera's going to pop out.
Yes, exactly. That's all you got. You got of the opera, everything of the opera. And so if you level up to their threshold price of 26 currently, 5 additional titles. So Against the Dark Master by Open Ended Games, Ultraviolet Grasslands by W2TF Studio. So a system-like campaign of psychedelic weirdness. And then Electric Bastion Land by Chris McDowell. So recently he just kind of redid his Into the Odd working with Free League and getting that kind of all kind of tweaked and laid out. And Johan, the illustrator for all the Mjörkborg stuff, did his design. It looks really gorgeous. But this is the newer game that kind of took the focus originally off of Into the Odd, but the designer found out people are still really enjoying that older game, so that's why you got to refresh and re-release. So refugees from hundreds of failed careers seek treasure in the only city that matters in Electric Bastion Land. And then in this level up, you get 2 more ship playbooks for Impulse Drive.
Oh, cool.
So I'll put a link to that, and if any of that sounds compelling, or if you wanted to try any of those games out, it's a really good way to get a nice, big selection of indie games, not based on any popular IP.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that Ironsworn's free, because to use Delve, Ironsworn Delve, you need the original Ironsworn, but it's free rules. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and so you're getting the digital copy here, so you can just pick up the digital core rules. Nice.
Cool. And I just realized that WTF
is
Wizard Thief Fighter, but also
Yeah, right.
WTF,
right.
yeah?
Perfect. Yes. Yeah, never seen the name of the studio before, so I thought that was funny. I keep seeing that game on Exalted Funeral, the website.
Ultraviolet
and they
Grasslands,
did a nice, they did a nice bundle, because I think in the Kickstarter they did a bunch of like crazy psychedelic custom dice and stuff. So those were available in a bundle for the kind of holiday and immediately sold out. Yeah. So no dice. Literally.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so that's it. Yeah, for this week. So where can people find you?
On Twitter, as always, where, funny enough, mentioning all that Street Fighter stuff,
Yes.
I'm doing pixel art.
Oh, nice.
So for some reason, just off the top of my head, I decided Itch has a category called game assets that I've never looked at. Let's look at it. Whoa. Okay, look at all this. I mean, okay, Itch is primarily for video games, like indie video games. So there's a lot of sprite sets and music things and all this stuff. But I kind of went, oh, pixel art's pretty cool. Let's look at that. Like, well, there's a lot of pixel art stuff. And even though it's designed for things like RPG Maker or other animation things where it gives you the thing, I'm like, they come as PNGs.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I've spent a bit too much money.
Oh, no.
Because of the Black Friday sale, like buying up a bunch of like sprite sets and PNGs and just like ripping them open and turning them into pixel art for stuff.
Nice. Oh, yeah, that would be great. A nice way, especially if you did, like some kind of like, cyber dungeon or technology to do like, pixel art for everything. Because then, you'd have assets you could mix and match and do some really nice
It's been kind of, I've been posting up, but spamming Twitter with my pictures, but it's been kind of hard because to print stuff, you obviously want 300 DPI. So it's... the pixels don't match up exactly because it's like, okay, let's convert this to 300 DPI, but let's retain those hard, chunky edges and let's blow it up by 125. Anyway, so that's getting a bit technical, but yeah, that's what I've been doing recently.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, very nice.
How about you?
So I do a weekly single panel gag cartoon, so abuse cartoons, if you want to watch me draw that. And just kind of interact, and I also bring like wacky stuff from Japanese convenience stores and stuff. So there's lots of lots of fun interaction as I draw cartoons.
You also don't eat into the mic, though.
I don't. Yes, I try very desperately, to not sound too disgusting. Yeah, there was a couple of things, especially when I was doing it here, when I was streaming from here. A couple of things that I ate that were just like, that's ASMR. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. That's a little too much, but so abuse cartoons, and if you want to read the cartoon itself, the full archive of that is on gocomics.com/domesticabuse. And if you want to support the weekly, upturntable.com is the website where that lives, so that you can have access to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast from there. We're basically on every platform, the audio version. And if you want to hear the audio from this live stream on an RSS, the Patreon will give you that. So the Patreon RSS gives you the weekly full version, like everything we've talked about.
All the outtakes.
Yeah, and then just the regular podcast is just from when we say hello and goodbye. So basically just when Chris is here. So cut off the talking to chat and everything. But that's always a fun part at the end. So so patreon.com/upturntable. And become a weekling and let us know that you're enjoying the weekly,
or not enjoying it,
or not enjoying
nice.
it. Give us some feedback. And on the table is a hint, a suggestion of what might be included in the Upturn Table Christmas card this year, which we'll post onto the YouTube channel.
Cool.
But we'll see how that goes. So busily editing at this point.
Nice.
But so that's it for this week.
Cool.
We'll see you next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye.
Yeah, dark Eden.
All right,
Ooh, I gotta bounce. Thank you.
All right. Oh, look, I did a new...
I don't think I did. Maybe I did.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe not. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's got some really good art in it. I just wish in some of the layout, they didn't crop it and like put stuff over it so much, because there's some really good art in here. There's got to be so much... The original art for a lot of this stuff floating around, it's got to be so wonderful, because we've never seen it printed very well. Like they've never done like a nice art book of it. Yeah, go for it. Look, and so when Chris isn't here, look, I can talk to the chat. Yay, chat. Cool. All right.
Maybe I didn't have this one.
Oh yeah, that's just for Warzone, because there was one for the RPG as well.
All the books I had for Warzone, because we had a bunch of them and they just fell the fuck apart.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Yeah, especially when they do like the color gloss and black and white pages together sometimes.
Oh.
Like when they bind those together, I've had a lot of books where the color section just goes, "Yeah, I'm done with this glue. I'll see you guys later."
I remember the Warzone book was that it was all color plates, and it was just like after like a year, just like, yeah, we don't like this glue anymore. Just all the pages fell out. But we definitely had all the Cornucopia books.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah. Talk about a cool IP setting.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. Okay.
All right, thanks very much.
Yeah, see you next week,
Sorry
Chris.
I got so fast, and see you next week. Bye, Chad.
Bye-bye. Nice. Hey, Orcus, how's it going? Good to see you. Hey, Wally. Other Chris, Chicago Chris, is in the chat. Nice. Excellent. So Chris says 100% be going when I get a chance. Are you referring to the D&D inspired restaurant in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin? I'm curious if that will ever happen. So yeah, I'm trying to improve my my etiquette for the for the chat. So Quark suggested to make sure that I read everything that I'm answering. So I'll try not to respond to the chat one-sided, so you're not hearing like one odd side of a conversation. Nice. Oh, so Orcus says, if you enjoy Mutant Crawl Classics, check out Scientific Barbarian. It's like Mutant Crawl Classics, a companion zine. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think I've seen that. I think I've maybe on drive-through, Scientific Barbarian. Nice. Yeah, I like how much support those Rules Light systems get. That's very cool. Nice. Oh wow! So so Lake Geneva is only 30 miles north of Wally. Wally in the chat of Wally's home in the U.S. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, those poor guys. I guess they're the poor residents there are going to eventually Lake Geneva will just be turned into this like one-stop D&D fantasy. Maybe it'll be like a constant Ren fair, like just a 7 days a week Ren fair where everyone's D&D LARPing, and you can't have a store or a gas station without a period accent. Oh, that's really funny. Nice. All right. Well, it's good to see everybody in the chat. Yeah, so I've been working on. So I'll put together the Dark Eden stories that produced for the Patreon and for the YouTube members as a surprise. So you're only you're finding out about this now in the chat. But the 4 stories that are in the book that cover each of the tribes of Old Earth, kind of interconnected stories. I did the audio drama version of those. So those will be one big file for Christmas on YouTube, and then a bigger Mutant Chronicles release will happen this month as well. So hopefully it'll be something fun for the new year. Yes, please, Chris, buy me a tavern mug and a T-shirt, because they said their store is going to specialize in apparel. So I can't imagine. I hope it's just T-shirts. I hope it doesn't get into LARPing accessories. Yeah, I wonder how popular, because I remember like Pennsylvania and I'm not sure if Ohio, but I remember hearing about like Renaissance festivals and stuff in Pennsylvania, but I never heard about anything like Illinois or Wisconsin. I'm sure it happens. I'm sure every part of the Midwest can be affected by the desire to drink out of tankards and throw axes. But yeah, it's a funny thing. I guess though it would be fun if that actually did become like the home of fantasy role play, so everyone did kind of support that, because those complementary businesses, then of course we're going to get a motel, a fantasy adventure inspired motel and all those good things. But yeah, and that was the thing. So talking about the themed restaurants, that was and it kind of went away when I was there. But when I first moved to Los Angeles, it was the mecca, because that was Planet Hollywood, and everybody that wanted to throw some money around did some kind of novelty. Because Steven Spielberg had this restaurant called Dive. And basically, all of the windows in the restaurant were portholes, and they were like double pane portholes that had like a layer of liquid or water, I'm assuming, in between them. And so like the Jungle Cafe, is that what it's called? The Rainforest Cafe that you see in like shopping malls and stuff. Periodically, the whole restaurant would like little sirens and alarms would flash, and you just hear dive, and the whole restaurant, submerged. So the all the little portholes like started to bubble, and they changed to what looked like some sort of underwater thing. So just thematically, that was the theme. The theme was you're eating in a submarine. But there was a Marvel superheroes restaurant, and lots of odd theme restaurants in Los Angeles, because it just worked really well for the for the tourists. It served the tourists well. So, but all of those went away as well. They all disappeared. Nice. It's not a new thing for Lake Geneva to be terrorized by nerds. Yeah, I guess that's true, and business nerds as well. People trying to claim some right to the new TSR. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so there's a D&D theme park, possibly in Oregon. Wow. Oh, reviews have been excellent. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's really funny. I mean, there is definitely like fantasy adventure is always going to be a popular theme. So yeah, that's really funny. And that's the problem with the D&D IP is it's so general, so vague, that as long as you're not using their named monsters, you can, without without paying them, you can benefit from the popularity of that setting. That's really funny. Yeah, I wonder what will actually happen. But yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad that I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the whole situation is. But yeah, the themed restaurant fad, I think it was like stopped by the late 90s, but that was really over the top in LA, because you would see these huge construction projects, and it basically looked like, I don't know, like they were building like a small shopping mall or something, because the restaurants themselves just had a big facade, but they were, very ugly, flat buildings that just took up, just like one-story buildings that took up this, big parking lot areas. And there'd always be these weird themed restaurants. So maybe they were kind of meant, cheaply constructed, meant to, just be very temporary, because they always had like weird big facades, and then everything else was very, shopping mall, one-story construction. Evermore Park. Oh, nice. So that's the Oregon, the Oregon like D&D themed or fantasy themed park. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder how close you can kind of play with that, because like we were talking about, a lot of Japanese manga artists included a lot of things inspired by their Dungeons and Dragons play in manga, and they didn't have to get a license or anything for it, and it was very obvious what they were addressing. Evermore Park, I'll have to look that up. Yeah, I wonder what the and always, I'm surprised. Yeah, Disneyland never went heavy into that. I guess the castle, like Cinderella's castle, is as close as you're going to get, but the theme parks were always a little bit more like 1950s like TV shows. Those really wasn't fantasy like swords and dragons and magic stuff. Then it was like the Old West, or space astronauts. So there's they do have the Fantasyland though, but it's all of their like Alice in Wonderland type characters. So yeah, it's funny that Disney hasn't moved in on that. But they did do the that very obviously like tabletop based shoot, Chris Pratt was one of the voices. Like it was like a modern world where it was still fantasy and everybody was fantasy characters. It was one of those one word Disney ever after or something like that. But yeah, that's the only time they've really gone heavy into something that was obviously tabletop kind of fantasy. I don't know. Yeah, now that you don't have, the risk of another satanic panic, you just have a risk of, I don't know what the panic would be, but oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Wally's saying that there is a fantasy land, and it's pretty amazing. Like it's amazingly designed. I'm not in love with the theme, but the Harry Potter, the Witching World, and this is probably a tiny version. There is one in the Universal Studios in Japan, near Osaka, and it's very interesting the way that it's designed, because you can tell there must be like some computer assisted or whatever, because it's so perfectly, you can't see anything until you're close to it, and you kind of like kind of walk up this rise in the path, and then suddenly you can see this whole town, and it's forced perspective, so you see like Hogwarts in the background. But there was the only time that I was there, they were cleaning it or something, so somebody was actually up on the Hogwarts, and you could see how tiny it was, because the little worker guy was like monstrous at the edge of it. But they did a really neat job of it. It's very concealed, and you walk this long path, and there's like some little kind of Harry Potter props along the path. And then you get to the little shopping street area, and then you see the school in the background, and it looks amazing. But yeah, that's fantasy enough. People are claiming it's fantasy enough. The funniest thing about that, though, is you can buy really expensive, and this is probably true in Florida as well. The Universal Studios there. You can get your house scarf, and you get your wand. They have the little place where the wand chooses you to pay $75 or whatever it is, but then the groups of friends that all choose the same school walk around like gang members. So you've got these like kids that are acting like they're in gangs, like walking around. You've got all these like badass Hufflepuff kids just giving you the stink eye. It's really bizarre. Like the mentality is very funny. I was really surprised how the kids kind of got tough once they got their wands. I don't know what that was all about, but it felt a little strange. I think they were kind of missing the spirit of it. It's not really a gang affiliation. Your house isn't really a ride or die kind of thing. Maybe it is, I don't know. But that was the funny part of USJ, the Harry Potter world, is they took it a little too seriously, I think. Well, I guess if you spend all that money for the scarf and the robe and the wand, I guess you're gonna go pretty hard. Yeah, so I don't know, and I don't know how much of a, I mean, if you already like something, then that's a fun way maybe to celebrate it or enjoy it, but it's not going to be a way to get anybody into a hobby or maybe into something. I don't think you'd go near it unless you already liked that sort of thing. So we'll see. But yeah, that's an odd it's just an odd choice, and we'll see how successful, because you've got Wisconsin, you've got limited, it's pretty far north, and so you're not going to have a lot of people visiting in the winter. So it's going to be, like 3-4 months of good heavy tourism during people's summer vacations, and then that's it. I guess you can just like put a tarp over it during the cold months. But yeah, I don't know. Well, it's good to see you, Wally. Good to see you in the chat. It's been a while. Oh, wait, Wally. While I have you, if you're still here, so give me a give me a message if you're still here. I need to show you something. Something fun to do on live stream. Is this the game that you were talking about? So I'll put this on the live stream. This is here, and if this is the game you're talking about, I can send this. But it is still here. Back in the pre-lockdown days. Nice. But yeah, I'll send you a message about that. But I thought it was funny. It's like sitting right there. I was looking right at it, and I remember you asked about that. Yes, Dreamhouse is sitting right here. But yeah, it's very cool. So we'll wrap things up. Yeah, so look forward to that. We'll do a release. I'll probably do it earlier so that it's not too close to the holiday. But the Mutant Chronicles fiction release, where I just put all the stories together in one file with a little Christmas theming. I'm trying to figure out how covert I should be about it. If I should just try to sneak it in and see if anybody notices what it is, or if I should title it as the Mutant Chronicles. Probably for the algorithm, I should I should code it. I should name it appropriately and give it all sorts of hashtags and everything. But yeah, but that's coming soon. And yeah, I'm really happy with how those turned out. So there's, in that Mutant Chronicles fiction now, there's 3 stories about Sebastian Crenshaw, 3 stories of Mishima, and then I'm working on the Capital kind of trilogy now. Because it seems like if you go through enough of the source material between Warzone and Mutant Chronicles, there's enough fiction like of each of the different mega corporations that it'll be a nice kind of introduction to the named characters and also to kind of the setting. So that's worked well. So that's available both so if on the join button under this video, YouTube membership or Patreon is ways to both access those. So there are YouTube videos, of course, on YouTube audio, only with just the title graphic, the kind of thumbnail. And they're on the RSS feed for the Patreon. So very cool. So yeah, will we do this again next week? Get Chris back here and talk about something else. Yeah, we're talking a little bit before the cast about the maybe I'll just bring that up next week. That might be more fun to discuss next week. But the open game license for Cortex, people were talking a little bit about that the terms came out for the open gaming license, and yeah, people were not happy with what that looked like. And it may just be because the people that put it together are used to doing that kind of stuff for software and not really understanding what like indie tabletop creators or players or designers are really interested in seeing, and it seemed pretty restrictive. But yeah, we'll talk about that next week. If that stays in the news, it might be worth a discussion. All right, so let's wrap it up for this week. And yeah, so thanks everybody for watching, and thanks in the chat. It's always great to see you guys in the chat. And long time no see, Joe. It's good to. I'm glad I finally caught you. Very cool. But we'll do this again next week. And yeah, so like I said, this all will be on the Patreon audio. And you can always listen. We keep these archived both on Twitch and YouTube. So we'll do the same thing next week, and hope to see you then. Goodbye.